I found a TT-RS that could be an amazing deal. If you shop for cars online, you know the Audi TT-RS is an extremely expensive car. But this one is crashed. I had no plans to buy a TT-RS, but when this owner reached out offering to sell me his crashed car, I was intrigued. From the initial pictures he sent, it looked like the body of the car was in great shape. The obvious damage was on the front end of the vehicle, and the interior had multiple deployed airbags. The most important image to me is the engine because the 2.5 turbo is an extremely expensive engine, and damage to the engine could make this a terrible buy. Before I go to see this car, I have put together an estimate of all the parts that I think it needs based off of the images I've seen, and this is a rough estimate that lands at $37,631.17. He's asking for $14,000 for this car. $37,000 for parts, $14,000 for the car. That's $51,000 total before we've actually fixed the car. Wow. Now, if you bought all these parts from our site, you could save yourself probably around $3,000 to $5,000, but we're hoping to be able to get some stuff used to save some money. He told us that he was the third owner and sadly only had the car for a few months before it was stuffed into a ditch at high speed. He also said the car does not crank or run, which sounds scary. But because the airbags were deployed, the pyrotechnic on the battery would have disconnected the battery from the car, which is why it definitely will not crank or run. This is actually a pretty standard thing that you would have on a car with a rear-mounted battery as a safety precaution, because if you got into an accident and your battery shorted, it could set the car on fire. So, you know, it's a good thing to have. My initial plan was to drive there with a jump pack to try to jump over the battery pyrotechnic, but when I looked in the car, I found the oil pan had been pushed back into the subframe of the car, tearing it open, which means there was no oil inside the engine. So starting it was not a possibility. I figured it was worth it to take a shot and see if we can fix this car. The next step was getting this car towed home to find out how much damage I'm really dealing with. So here it is, our turbo blue Audi TT-RS, and as you can see, the front end smashed to pieces. The back end looks great. The question is, of the damage that's here, how bad is it? What can we fix? What can we get used? Let's inspect it to find out how bad this thing is. So starting here, you can see this fender is damaged. You can see there's a giant gap here between the door. The door will actually touch this fender if you try to open it. When we move on to the headlight, you can see this headlight, it's, you know, not much of a headlight and it's got a giant crack in it. These headlights are $4,000 each. Each. The good news is many of them overlap with TTs, so those we probably can get used. This headlight, it appears as though it's held in, and I'll be honest with you, at the angle it's at, probably the tabs on it are broken or something, so that's a big question mark. This fender on the driver's side actually looks okay-ish, but you can see this gap is actually pretty good. So the other one, you can stick your hand actually in it. This one actually is okay. Moving on to the side of the car, no damage there. This taillight somehow got some like massive scratches in it, which is weird. These are $1,600 each. That's pretty cool.
I mean, you don't have to make it perfect.
Well, I mean, it's a $60,000 car. I'd like to not drive a pile of garbage when I'm done. On the back of the car, obviously cool. Got that black emblems, black TT-RS stuff. It's got an AWE exhaust. It's got a TT-RS spoiler underneath. You can see this is the remnants of what was left of the wrap, because I guess when you take a wrap off a car, you just take it off, you know, whatever you can get to it is fine. So the spoiler will have to be unbolted to remove the rest of that. Passenger side, you can see, looks pretty good all the way up to the fender. Also, forgot to mention, needs a windshield because it broke a windshield. I don't know how much that is, but bet you it's expensive. So yes, the hood actually is straight and opens and closes, but the owner said it does not need a hood. But based off of, I disagree. I vehemently disagree. I so significantly disagree that I'm gonna have to pay thousands of dollars for a hood to get a new one, because this looks awful. You have water that just goes straight down into your engine bay. That's a number one. Number two, it looks awful. This is a wrap that was on here, and so the vents were put over top of the wrap, and then when the wrap was removed, you can still see that underneath. They look like they belong on a 80s model Chevy. When we look at the inside of the car, you can see that The driver's side airbag is deployed. These cars have a knee bag, which is down there. That's been deployed, and then the curtain bag has been deployed. So that's all really expensive stuff. You can see that the headliner is gonna have to be replaced because it destroys it when it pops out. This pillar trim, obviously the airbag. Steering wheel doesn't look damaged. That's kind of shocking. But they had some glued to the dash. That really makes me kind of annoyed. And this vent is damaged here. I'm not really sure how that happened. They had a phone mount or something glued to the dash in between here. I get you want to do like mounts on your cars and stuff like that, but like if you have an expensive car, don't do stuff like that. You got a Mark IV daily and you just want to like stick something to the dash. I don't care, glue it to the dash. But like, you get a nice car, get your knee bags. This is how you protect your knees, with your knee bag. Interior of this car is beautiful. Look at these RS seats. It's got blue stitching in it. There's blue accents all over the car. This car is gorgeous inside, gorgeous. Again, one of the other reasons why I would like to fix this car. Again, might not be able to. Okay, to get this car inside, we have to get it into neutral, which, because the pyrotechnic on the back popped, we have to jump it. When I jumped it earlier, I had to actually remove the alternator cable. Luckily, we can get to it because I jumped the car and it started smoking. And that's why you have those pyrotechnics, is because what's likely happened is the alternator harness is damaged and is grounded out completely. So as soon as I put battery power to this thing, it was gonna set that on fire. But I've removed it, so it won't set on fire anymore. All right, so I hooked that jump pack up. You do not want to try to start this car. You just want to press the start button, and then we're going to put it into neutral. We're going to make sure our parking brake is not on, and also pushing this car is really hard because there's damage in the like axles and stuff like that, and they do not turn easy. My curiosity is in the engine bay to see how much damage we can assess from this. Most notably, you will realize that this engine is crooked in the engine bay like that. And that's because this engine mount broke when it was pushed back all the way into this firewall. So if you look over here, you will see that this is part of the engine mount. It actually, not a part of, it was the engine mount. It went like this actually in the car. This used to go right here, but that all broke out, and you can see all of this rubber. This is where the mount used to be. Got broke out underneath and pushed this whole thing forward. So it's a solid like 4 inches away. It's probably 6 inches, probably 8 inches away, which also means underneath all of the stuff in the back jammed that much further back into the stuff. So when we look underneath, we're gonna be worried about things like drive shafts, transmission, engine, all these components ramming into things that they didn't belong to be hitting. Has an APR intake. This is a big feller. And as you can see, it's cracked right here. Yeah, so you can see it got cracked pretty good here. It smells pretty burnt here from earlier when we tried to jump it and it shorted out that alternator harness. Yeah, the smell of burnt wiring, it lingers for an exceptionally long time. Okay, so I now am looking from the top down, just with the intake out of the way, things like damaged transmission mount. Actually, the trans mount is still fully intact, it looks like. The heat shield around the downpipe appears to be mushed pretty good back there. We'll have to inspect that from underneath. So you can see this crash bar used to be here, and now it's here. So this has literally gone like a foot backwards. So the crash bar has been pushed back a foot. This APR intercooler is literally a pancake. Like, look at it, look at this. That's a piece of the APR intercooler. All of this, yeah, there you go, here. I got the intercooler out. Didn't even have to do an installation. So you can see all this. Oh, here's a piece of an electrical connector. I don't know. This is a custom bent APR intercooler found only exclusively at shopdap.com. You want to buy this? Click buy it now. So you can see where this mounts to the frame rail. The end of the frame rail is for sure tweaked. Now the main question is, are the frame rails themselves tweaked? Or is it just the ends that are like bent a little bit in and out like that? Which means this car, if I decide we're fixing this car, depending on what we find, it will have to go on a frame machine to make sure it's straight. Next, when you look at this whole stack of, this is the core support, the radiator, the condenser, all this stuff, all this has been pushed back really far, which brings big question marks around condition of things like the alternator, the AC compressor. Any component in that system could be broken as well. So all of the engine components on the front could be damaged, including, by the way, the engine itself. Because we've seen all we can see from up top, let's go underneath and see what we can see over there. The big thing with this car, while I'm taking this intercooler off, is you aren't gonna find TT-RS parts used. The cars just aren't out there. You can't go to the used TT-RS parts store and go buy cars. You need a car that has the parts to get taken off of. Because of that, you gotta buy new. And these new parts are insane amounts of money. The grill for this car, just the grill, is 1,700 bucks. The bumper cover, just a plastic bumper cover part, $2,600. Also, by the way, I'm not super experienced with disassembling these kind of cars, like crash cars, but everything is sharp because it's broken. So it did tweak the end of this maybe a little bit, but more importantly, it actually tore the mounting point where this aluminum crash bar goes. I think it is good news actually, but it's all like, you can see if you look from this angle, it's like, whoop, this used to be flat against this. It ripped it out like that and tore here and bent all here. There's fans, you know, fans, not only fan, you know, there's fans in a car, not only fans, but just fans. So you can see this is the one side and it ripped it completely apart. There's the pins that used to be inside of here. We are under the car and you can see there is significant carnage under here. The most notable carnage is the fact that this oil pan right here, which got pushed back into the subframe right here, smash. But it did rip all the way. You can see it's got like a 4.5 inch tear that went all the way through the back of the pan. Obviously concerning and means that you have no oil in your engine. The good news about this, and this is one of the reasons why I felt okay-ish buying this car. The pyrotechnic turning the car off and depowering everything so it couldn't run is probably the only thing that saved this engine. Because had this been able to be attempted to start afterwards, people panic and they start pushing the start button, try to get a car to start, ruining what's left of a salvageable engine. So this engine should be, in theory, okay if we replace this pan and any other damage that might be obvious for oil-related things. I want you to put on screen what a dog bone mount on a car looks like. So now we know what a dog bone mount on a car looks like. Now I want you to look at what this dog bone mount looks like. And this is a steel metal bar that's box-shaped, so it's pretty strong stuff. And it was collapsed and twisted into a pretzel. Kind of want to take it out, but unfortunately, it's probably one of the few things holding the drivetrain into the car. So we're not going to do that right now. Because remember, that engine mount isn't there. So you can see right here, the oil filter housing is completely busted. And oh, there's a lot of items coming down. Oh, there's a lot of items that are coming down.
Oh my God.
Oh, I think we got our answer. The AC compressor is been damaged apparently. And the way I know is because all AC compressors aren't supposed to come off like this. You're not supposed to be able to just pull an AC compressor off of a car like that. So we need a new one of those.
Oh, look at it, it's all.
You can see the inside though. Oh, it's got stuff in there. I can't turn it. We are gonna need this accessory bracket, which I'm sure is expensive. We also need an upper oil pan. Not because of damage here, but this is the lower oil pan, this is the upper oil pan, this is your engine block. This is where the oil pan ripped, but part of the upper oil pan came with it. So that means this part of the pan has to come off. We also have to take the rear main seal off, so the trans has to come off. So basically all of this whole engine drivetrain is gonna have to be pulled out of the car before we can really even properly fix this car or maybe even assess the full scope of the damage. Pretty interesting damage that I found here is up here where the subframe mounts. So you can see up here, this is where the subframe actually mounts to the body, which is up here. And the bolt is missing right here. And you can see there's a gap in between the body and the subframe because the bolt has snapped off and it's still stuck in the body up there. The subframe is what holds the suspension of the car. It bolts to the bottom of the car and actually it's what holds everything together. Part of that is just off the car. It's not even doing anything because it snapped off and got pushed backwards, which means either the body of the car is damaged or the subframe of the car is damaged, or both of them are damaged. Hopefully the bolt just broke and that's fine. He hit like a ditch, but you can see whatever he hit sheared this off and pushed all this back, and you can see all the condenser and the radiator are just like mushed into a ball here. So. Oh, there's another item that fell out there. We're gonna remove this bumper bar and these items so we can assess the damage to the front of the engine. Oh, look at this. That's what's in my way. Didn't even realize it. Look at our horn. So the horn bracket got bent.
Yeah, because you bent it?
Nope. Nope, I didn't. I'm trying to bend it backwards. So there's a screw up here. If you look, there's a screw up here, and this was flipped the other way completely. But now I can get to my bolt I was looking for the whole time. This is what happens with a sweet $4,000 headlight. You see this was the tab, that's where it went. So you might be able to like plastic weld that, and obviously if you're gonna save $4,000, it's probably worth plastic welding a tab back on. But so I think all the tabs are broken off the lights. So that's pretty unappealing. So if we look at our light, you can see the mounts are broken off. There's one here, and then there was the one that we had under here. Oh, right here, yep, right there.
You really think you can fix all three of those?
Actually, there's four, I'm sorry. There's one right here too. There, yeah. Do I think, I don't know, you wanna bet me $4,000 I can fix all four of them? I tell you what, I'll try. I'll take a swing at it. So I saw this after I took the headlight out, and I don't know how well it's gonna come across on camera, but you can see this is one of the auxiliary radiators, and you can see it's twisted. Like, see how this mount is in, and that one is broken off and missing? And if you look down at it, you can see it's like twisted. When you're working on a car like this, you can't just rip and tear everything. It looks like everything's destroyed. You gotta take it apart very gingerly so you can salvage as much as possible. You may damage like this crash sensor. Well, the crash sensor's gonna be screwed anyway. The horn.
It definitely was in a crash.
It definitely was in a crash. The sensor did crash. If this one isn't the one that actually contacted and made the airbags deploy, this sensor might be okay.
Oh.
That one is probably the one that hit because that's where the most of the force was. So you'd have to, like, part of the process of fixing it will be like replacing what we know is a problem based on fault codes and that type of stuff. This headlight actually has some mounts still on it, even though the headlight's destroyed. We'll just put this in the pile. For those of you who know how difficult these intercooler clips are to get in and out, this one got into an accident that's that hard and still is in, it's still in.
It didn't give up.
It didn't give up. That's to show you how hard they are to get out. It won't give up even at an 80-mile-an-hour crash. So remember when that AC compressor just fell out? You can see it, this is where it contacted. So this is the upper pan on the front side, lower pan, upper pan. So you can see it blasted into here. It looks like the block is probably okay, which is thank God, because if this block is damaged, we are absolutely cooked, chat. You want to change the oil on your TT-RS? There you go. Change your oil. This car only had 33,000 miles on it when I bought it. So in theory, this is basically a brand new car, brand new-ish. Smells nice inside still. This is why it was catching on fire, is because this, see this situation here? This was see, this is the seal for the sensor, for the plug, part of the sensor. You can see where the wire terminals go. So that's all probably damaged. This needs an oil cooler as well. Sometimes people call these pancake pipes, and this one truly is a pancake.
Is there supposed to be two fans there?
Was there? No, there's only one fan. Yeah, there's only one fan. Oh no, oh no. This is the other fan.
Oh.
This is the other fan. The fan got embedded into the oil cooler. I was wondering what this was the whole time. I was like, what is that? It must be some sort of pump or something. It should go right here. This is where it would be. You see how it's mushed into there? I mean, look at, there's nothing left of the fan. There used to be a fan attached to this. That's where all this plastic came from. So we're looking at our frame rail here. So the main thing you want to look for at a frame rail is if it's bent like this way or that way from the damage of the accident. This one, it really just looks like the end of it is actually like waffled a little bit. But if you look down the frame rail, it appears to be straight. Now, that's not how you assess if a frame rail is bent, but visual inspection is the first step of that process. Next, you would be measuring and then putting it on a frame machine to make sure everything lines up how it's supposed to. We're gonna have the pan off anyway, upper and lower pan. So I'll probably pull off some rod main caps to assess potential wear on any of the bearings, just as a precautionary thing. So we should be able to just pull it off. I'll get the bolts while we're here, and we'll assess the wear, kind of go from there. Okay, so we have assessed this car to the best of our ability based off of what we could see without further disassembly. Right now, I actually feel pretty good about this car. While the damage is pretty significant, especially some surprise engine components that I didn't know about, I feel like all that is repairable. The engine block appears to be okay. The body of the car actually seems to be in pretty good shape, with the big question mark being the frame rails, but those are definitely repairable. The next step of this is going to be pulling the engine, assessing a full suite of the damage, getting a list together of all those things, and then estimating that. So in our next video, my boy Charlie probably is gonna come down and help me out. We're gonna pull this thing, we'll probably assess all the damage, and then we will report back with those details. If you have parts or know somebody parting out a Mark III TT or TT-RS, reach out to me.
Reach out and touch someone.
I'm with Charles, he said that. I need parts for this car.